My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the greatest treasures we all seek in life is happiness. Every single human being, no matter their race, age, or background, longs to live in joy and peace. Yet so often we wait for happiness to come from somewhere outside of us. We believe it will arrive when we achieve success, when we buy something new, or when life finally becomes perfect. But the truth is, happiness is not a destination, it is a decision we must push ourselves to make every single day. We live in a world where negativity is everywhere. Problems, challenges, and disappointments will always exist. If you wait for life to become perfect before you allow yourself to be happy, you will spend your entire life waiting. Happiness is not about denying pain or pretending everything is fine. It is about choosing a mindset that refuses to be crushed by hardship. It is about pushing yourself daily to see the light even when darkness surrounds you. Think about it. Every day when you wake up, you are given two options. You can either complain about what you lack, or you can choose gratitude for what you already have. You can focus on problems, or you can focus on possibilities. The difference between a miserable day and a fulfilling day often lies in the decision you make in the first few moments after you rise from bed. That is the power of pushing yourself to be happy. It is an intentional, conscious act that transforms your entire outlook. So today, let us journey together into the principles that will help us cultivate daily happiness. Not a fleeting joy that comes and goes, but a steady inner strength that cannot be shaken by the storms of life. Because happiness is not about everything being right around you, it's about everything being right within you. And when you learn to push yourself to be happy every day, you will discover that true joy is not only possible, it is your birthright. Happiness is often misunderstood as something that simply happens to us when circumstances align, as though it were a stroke of luck or a gift that falls into our laps. But the reality is far deeper. Happiness is not accidental, it is intentional. It is not something we stumble upon in a perfect moment, but a conscious choice we must make repeatedly, day after day. If we wait for the perfect job, the perfect spouse, the perfect income, or the perfect life before deciding to be happy, we will wait forever. Life in its nature is filled with ups and downs. If happiness was dependent on the absence of problems, none of us would ever experience it. This is why the key to true joy lies not in what happens outside of us, but in what we decide within ourselves. Happiness is not found, it is created, nurtured, and chosen. Every morning when you open your eyes, you are standing at a crossroads. You can either let your worries, fears, and disappointments dictate the tone of your day, or you can choose to begin with gratitude, hope, and positivity. This decision may feel small, but it carries enormous power. The mind is like fertile soil. What you plant in it first thing in the morning will grow throughout the day. If you plant thoughts of frustration, irritation, and despair, your entire day will be poisoned by negativity. But if you deliberately choose to plant gratitude, peace, and optimism, then happiness will flourish even in the midst of difficulty. Choosing happiness is an act of discipline, and like all disciplines, it takes practice. Think about people who always seem joyful no matter what they are facing. They are not immune to pain, nor do they live lives free of struggles. What sets them apart is that they have trained themselves to focus on the blessings that still exist, even when challenges loom large. They do not allow the weight of the world to crush their spirit because they understand that happiness begins inside, not outside. They push themselves daily to see beauty, to appreciate life, and to smile even when tears are not far behind. This does not make them fake or naive, it makes them strong. They have recognized that if they surrender their happiness to circumstances, they will forever be controlled by things outside of their power. Many of us, unfortunately, fall into the trap of waiting for happiness to come someday. We tell ourselves that once we earn more, once we lose weight, once we move into a new house, once people treat us better, then we will finally allow ourselves to feel joy. But life does not work that way. There will always be another if or another when waiting around the corner. If happiness is postponed, it will remain out of reach. The secret is to choose happiness now, exactly where you are, even if everything is not the way you wish it to be. This moment, This breath, this day, is an opportunity to be happy if only you decide to claim it. Of course, choosing happiness daily does not mean ignoring pain or pretending that suffering does not exist. Life is real and pain is real, but happiness is not about denying reality. It is about refusing to let pain become the author of your story. You acknowledge your struggles, but you also affirm that they will not steal your ability to live with peace and gratitude. Happiness is not a mask, it is a mindset. And when you push yourself to choose it, even in small ways, you begin to rewire your heart and soul to see light where others only see darkness. The discipline of daily happiness is much like the discipline of physical exercise. Just as you must consistently train your body to build strength, you must consistently train your heart and mind to build joy. At first, it may feel unnatural. Negativity is often easier to embrace because it requires no effort. Complaining, worrying, and comparing come naturally to us. But happiness requires resistance. It demands that we push back against the natural current of negativity and steer ourselves toward gratitude and hope. And just like exercise, the more you practice it, the stronger you become. Eventually, happiness becomes less of a struggle and more of a natural state. Gratitude is the foundation of true happiness. Without it, nothing in life will ever feel like enough. You could achieve success, accumulate wealth, and surround yourself with luxuries, but if your heart is not thankful, you will always be restless, always chasing the next thing. Gratitude, on the other hand, turns even the smallest blessings into treasures. It allows you to see joy in moments others overlook. It transforms ordinary days into extraordinary ones because you begin to recognize that everything you have, your breath, your health, your family, your opportunities, is a gift. Happiness and gratitude are inseparable. The more grateful you are, the happier you become. When you wake up each morning, you have a choice. You can open your eyes and immediately focus on what you lack, on what you have not yet achieved, or on the problems waiting for you. Or you can begin with a simple acknowledgement. I am alive, and that is already a blessing. I have another chance to make today meaningful. Gratitude shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance. It reminds you that no matter what is missing, there is still so much to appreciate. Even something as simple as the air you breathe, the food on your table, or the ability to walk and speak are blessings denied to many. But often we only notice their value when they are gone. By training ourselves to be grateful now, we invite happiness into our hearts before we even step out of bed. The human mind naturally tends to compare. We look at others and measure our lives against theirs. Comparison, however, is the thief of joy. It blinds us to what we already have by making us obsess over what we lack. Gratitude destroys comparison because it teaches us to celebrate our unique journey. When you are grateful for your own path, you no longer envy someone else's. You realize that each life is written differently with different tests and blessings. What matters is not how much you have compared to others, but how thankful you are for what is yours. This shift in perspective frees you from jealousy and allows happiness to bloom. Another beautiful truth about gratitude is that it multiplies blessings. When you appreciate what you have, you take care of it and it grows. A person who is grateful for their health will nurture it, and in return they enjoy greater strength. Someone who is grateful for their family invests love into those relationships, and in return they receive deeper bonds. Gratitude acts like a magnet. It attracts more reasons to be thankful, and the more reasons you see, the happier you become. On the other hand, if you are ungrateful, even abundance feels empty. You could be surrounded by blessings, but still live in misery because you are too focused on what is missing. Gratitude also changes how you handle hardship. Life will never be free of trials, but gratitude helps you endure difficulties with strength and hope. Instead of drowning in self-pity, a grateful heart says, "This challenge is painful, but I still have reasons to be thankful." Even in moments of loss, gratitude finds light in the darkness. It might be the support of loved ones, the lessons learned, or the resilience gained. Gratitude does not deny the pain. It simply refuses to let the pain erase all the good that still remains. And when you adopt this mindset, you discover a deeper kind of happiness, one that exists not only in times of ease, but even in times of struggle. It is important to remember that gratitude is not just a feeling, it is a practice. You do not wait until you feel thankful before you express it. You train your heart by deliberately noticing and appreciating what is already there. You can keep a gratitude journal where each day you write down even 3 simple things you are thankful for. Over time, this practice shifts your perspective and reprograms your mind to notice blessings instead of problems. Even a short moment of reflection each day where you pause and say, "Thank you for what I have," is enough to nurture inner joy. True gratitude is not only inward, it also expresses itself outward. When you are genuinely thankful, you show it through your words and actions. You say thank you to people, you appreciate their efforts, and you show kindness to those around you. Gratitude makes you generous because you realize you already have enough to share. And this generosity in turn increases happiness. For there is a unique joy in giving, in uplifting others, in becoming a source of light in someone else's life. Gratitude creates a ripple effect that touches not only your heart, but the hearts of those around you. Ultimately, gratitude is the secret that transforms an ordinary life into an extraordinary one. You may not have everything you desire, but when you choose to be thankful for what you already have, you step into a life of contentment. Contentment is not about having more, it is about realizing you already have enough. And from that realization springs a happiness that cannot be shaken by circumstances. Gratitude anchors you, protects you from despair, and reminds you that joy is always available if only you choose to see it. So push yourself to practice gratitude every day. Do not let your heart become blind to blessings because of constant complaints. Train yourself to notice beauty in the small things, to celebrate what is already in your hands, and to find reasons to smile even when life is not perfect. Because life will never be perfect, but with gratitude it will always be rich. And that richness is the soil where true happiness grows. One of the greatest enemies of happiness is comparison. From a young age, many of us are conditioned to measure our worth against the success, beauty, or possessions of others. We look at what someone else has and immediately question why we don't have the same. This constant measuring creates a cycle of dissatisfaction where no matter what we achieve, it never feels like enough. Comparison blinds us to our blessings and keeps us trapped in a mindset of lack. Instead of celebrating our own progress, we minimize it because we believe someone else is further ahead. If you want to protect your happiness, you must learn to break free from the prison of comparison. The truth is, every person's journey is unique. No 2 lives are the same. You may look at someone's success and feel envious, but you do not see the sacrifices they made, the struggles they endured, or the path they had to walk. Often, we only see the highlight reel of others' lives, not the behind-the-scenes reality. Social media has amplified this problem, as people showcase only their victories, vacations and smiles, while hiding their pain and failures. Comparing your raw reality with someone else's polished display is unfair and destructive. It makes you undervalue your own blessings and overestimate theirs. Happiness begins when you shift your focus back to your own journey and stop letting the lives of others dictate your sense of worth. Consider this: a flower does not compare itself to the flower beside it. It simply blooms in its own time, in its own way. The beauty of a garden lies in the variety, not in every flower being identical. In the same way, your life has its own timing and purpose. If you spend all your energy comparing yourself to others, you will miss the beauty of your own growth. When you recognize that your story is unfolding exactly as it is meant to, you free yourself from jealousy and resentment. You begin to appreciate your own progress, no matter how small, and happiness naturally follows. Comparison also feeds discontent. When you constantly look at what others have, you train your mind to focus on what is missing in your life instead of what is present. This creates a perpetual feeling of inadequacy. But gratitude, as we discussed earlier, is the antidote to this poison. When you intentionally appreciate what you have, you shift your energy away from lack and toward abundance. You realize that happiness is not about having what others have. It is about valuing what has been given to you. The more you practice gratitude, the less room comparison has to steal your joy. Another danger of comparison is that it pushes you into a race you were never meant to run. Each person has a unique set of gifts, opportunities, and challenges. When you compare yourself to someone else, you are measuring yourself by standards that were never designed for you. It is like comparing the flight of a bird to the swim of a fish. Both are excellent in their own domain, but neither will ever succeed in the other's environment. In the same way, you have strengths and abilities that are uniquely yours. True happiness comes when you embrace them, nurture them, and use them to fulfill your purpose, rather than wasting energy trying to outdo others. It is also worth noting that comparison not only robs you of happiness, it can also make you bitter toward others. Instead of celebrating the success of your friends or family, you may find yourself resenting them. This resentment damages relationships and isolates you further. But when you learn to genuinely rejoice in the blessings of others, something powerful happens. You create space for joy to multiply. Celebrating others does not diminish your worth. It strengthens your character and prepares you to receive your own blessings with grace. Happiness is magnified when you stop competing and start appreciating. Breaking free from comparison requires conscious effort. You must catch yourself when those thoughts arise and redirect your focus. Instead of saying, "They have more than me," shift to, "I have exactly what I need for my journey right now." Instead of envying someone else's progress, use it as inspiration to improve yourself without resentment. Train your mind to see others not as competitors, but as reminders that blessings come in many forms. What belongs to you will never miss you, and what misses you was never meant for you. This mindset brings a deep peace that comparison can never provide. In the end, happiness is not about being better than others. It is about being better than you were yesterday. Your true competition is not with your neighbor, your coworker, or anyone online. Your true competition is with the version of yourself from the past. Did you grow? Did you learn? Did you take one more step toward your goals? If the answer is yes, then you are moving forward, and that is enough. Stop letting comparison steal the joy of your progress. So push yourself to stop comparing and start appreciating. When you stop measuring your life against others, you begin to see your blessings clearly. You realize that happiness does not come from outrunning others in a race they were never in. It comes from embracing your unique path with gratitude and peace. And when you do that, your happiness is no longer fragile because it is not based on someone else's life. It is rooted firmly in your own. There is a deep truth about happiness that many people overlook. It is not found in constant self-indulgence, but in serving and uplifting others. The world often teaches us that if we want to be happy, we must focus on ourselves, our needs, our desires, our ambitions. Yet, those who spend their lives chasing only their own comfort often end up feeling empty. True and lasting happiness is not about how much we take, but about how much we give. When you extend kindness, when you support someone in need, when you bring a smile to another person's face, you experience a joy that is unmatched by any material possession. Happiness grows when it is shared. Think about the times when you felt the most fulfilled. Was it when you bought something new or when you helped someone who truly needed it? Material gains may excite you for a moment, but the thrill fades quickly. Acts of kindness, however, leave a lasting warmth in your heart. Serving others creates a sense of purpose, and purpose is one of the deepest roots of happiness. When your life becomes about more than just yourself, you begin to feel a connection to something greater. That connection nourishes the soul in a way nothing else can. Serving others does not always mean grand gestures or huge sacrifices. Sometimes the smallest acts carry the greatest impact. A gentle word of encouragement, a listening ear, a helping hand in a moment of difficulty. These little actions can change someone's entire day, and in the process they change yours as well. Happiness does not always come from achieving great milestones. Often it is found in these simple moments of human connection. Every time you lift someone else, you also rise. There is a powerful principle at work here. When you focus only on yourself, your problems feel larger, your burdens heavier. But when you shift your focus outward and seek to support others, your own struggles become lighter. Helping others gives you perspective. You realize that you are not alone in your difficulties, and that others face challenges just as heavy, if not heavier, than yours. And instead of drowning in self-pity, you discover strength through compassion. This shift not only brings peace, but also fuels happiness in a way that self-centered living never can. It is important to understand that serving others is not about losing yourself or neglecting your own needs. On the contrary, it enriches you. When you give your time, your energy, or your resources to someone in need, you are not left empty, you are replenished with a deeper joy. Many people think that if they give too much, they will run out of energy or happiness for themselves. But the opposite is true. The more you give, the more you receive. Not always in material form, but in peace, contentment, and fulfillment. Happiness is one of the few things in life that grows when it is shared. There are countless examples of how acts of service bring joy. Consider volunteers who dedicate their time to feeding the hungry, caring for the sick, or educating children. Despite the challenges they face, many of them radiate happiness. Why? Because their lives are fueled by a purpose beyond themselves. Or think of parents who sacrifice for their children. They may be tired, they may be stretched thin, yet their hearts overflow with happiness when they see their children smile. These examples remind us that serving others is not a burden, it is a privilege that fills our lives with meaning. Another aspect of serving others is that it builds stronger communities and relationships. When you help someone, you strengthen a bond. You create a sense of trust, love, and connection that cannot be manufactured by selfish pursuits. Human beings were not created to live in isolation. We were created to support one another. When we live with this awareness, happiness becomes a shared experience. You realize that your joy is tied to the joy of those around you. A society where people uplift each other is a society where happiness can truly flourish. Even science supports this truth. Studies have shown that people who engage in acts of kindness and service often report higher levels of happiness and lower levels of stress. Serving others releases a sense of fulfillment that money cannot buy. It creates a natural joy because it aligns with the very essence of being human. We are wired to connect, to give, to contribute. Ignoring this part of ourselves leaves us restless, but embracing it leads us to true peace. So push yourself to find happiness not only in what you achieve for yourself, but also in what you give to others. Make it a daily practice to look for opportunities to serve, whether it is offering encouragement, sharing knowledge, or simply being present for someone who feels alone. These actions may seem small to you, but they may mean everything to the one receiving them. And in return, you will find that your own happiness grows stronger, steadier, and more meaningful. Happiness was never meant to be a selfish pursuit. It was meant to be shared, to flow from one heart to another, creating ripples of joy that touch lives far beyond your own. When you uplift others, you uplift yourself. And that is where the deepest happiness is found. In a life lived not only for yourself, but for the betterment of those around you. Contentment is one of the greatest secrets to inner peace and lasting happiness. In a world that constantly pushes us to want more, to do more, and to have more, contentment feels almost countercultural. We are surrounded by advertisements telling us that what we have is not enough, that our lives will only be complete if we acquire the next product, the next achievement, or the next status symbol. Yet those who fall into this endless chase often discover that no matter how much they gain, satisfaction slips away. There is always something else to pursue, another milestone to reach, another comparison to make. But those who cultivate contentment break free from this exhausting cycle. They discover that happiness does not come from having everything, but from appreciating and making peace with what they already have. Contentment does not mean you should stop dreaming or abandon ambition. It is not about laziness or a lack of desire to grow. Instead, contentment is about balance. It is the ability to strive for better while still being at peace with the present. It is the art of saying, I am grateful for where I am, while working toward where I want to be. Without contentment, ambition becomes a trap that keeps you constantly restless. With contentment, ambition becomes healthy. It is no longer driven by desperation but by purpose. You can pursue growth without losing your peace in the process. Think about how many people spend their lives chasing wealth, power, or recognition. They believe that once they reach a certain point, happiness will finally arrive. Yet when they achieve their goals, the satisfaction often lasts only briefly before they begin chasing the next thing. This is because external achievements can never satisfy an internal emptiness. Contentment, however, fills that emptiness by reminding you that happiness is already available in the life you are living now. You may not have everything you desire, but you have enough to live, to love, and to be grateful. That realization alone is powerful enough to bring peace. One of the greatest blessings of contentment is freedom. When you are content, you are no longer controlled by society's expectations or other people's opinions. You are not pressured to compete, to compare, or to prove yourself. Instead, you live according to your own values, at your own pace, and in line with your purpose. This freedom protects your happiness because it anchors you within, instead of tying your joy to external validation. You stop measuring your worth by material possessions or social status and start valuing yourself for who you truly are. And in this freedom, peace settles into your heart. Contentment also strengthens resilience during difficult times. Life is full of challenges and struggles are inevitable. Without contentment, hardship can make you bitter and hopeless as you focus only on what is missing. But when you are content, even in hardship, you find reasons to endure with gratitude. You may face loss, but you still see what remains. You may struggle financially, but you still recognize the blessings that cannot be bought, such as family, health, or the gift of time. Contentment does not erase pain, but it softens it by shifting your perspective from despair to appreciation. This perspective is what allows people to smile even in the face of adversity. Another beautiful aspect of contentment is that it fosters stronger relationships. Many conflicts arise because people are constantly dissatisfied, always expecting more from others, or resenting what they do not receive. But when you are content, you approach relationships with gratitude rather than demand. You appreciate what people bring into your life instead of focusing on what they fail to give. This attitude nurtures love, patience, and harmony, which in turn creates deeper happiness. Contentment teaches you to focus on the good in others instead of magnifying their shortcomings. It is important to understand that contentment does not mean settling for less than what you are capable of. It does not mean staying in toxic situations or accepting injustice. Rather, it means living with peace in your current reality while working with wisdom and effort toward positive change. Contentment allows you to find happiness in the present moment, so your joy is not postponed until the future. This way, whether you are at the beginning of your journey or further along, you carry happiness with you instead of chasing it ahead of you. To cultivate contentment, you must train your heart and mind. Begin by practicing gratitude daily, intentionally reflecting on the blessings you already have. Shift your focus from what is missing to what is present. Reduce comparisons, because comparison fuels discontent. Remind yourself that happiness is not about quantity but quality, the quality of your relationships, your peace of mind, and your connection with your purpose. And most importantly, learn to say, what I have right now is enough for today. This simple statement has the power to calm your heart and silence the noise of constant craving. Ultimately, contentment is the doorway to true happiness. It is the quiet confidence that you do not need everything to live a good life. You already have enough to live with peace and joy. When you embrace contentment, you stop chasing happiness outside of yourself and start discovering it within. And the moment you realize that happiness is not in the next thing but in this very moment, you unlock a freedom that no one can take from you. That is the beauty of contentment. It opens the doors to inner peace, and through that peace you find a happiness that endures. Happiness is not a distant dream, nor is it something that comes by chance. It is a conscious decision, a daily practice, and a way of life. When you push yourself to be happy every day, you take control of your inner world regardless of what is happening on the outside. You realize that happiness is built on gratitude, strengthened by contentment, protected from comparison, and deepened when you serve others. You understand that struggles and trials are part of life, but they are not meant to steal your joy. They are meant to strengthen you. Each day presents you with a choice to live in negativity or to rise above it with a heart full of peace. The one who chooses joy, even in small moments, lives a life of true wealth, because happiness is not about what you hold in your hands, but about what you nurture in your heart. As you live with these thoughts, remember that happiness is not waiting for you somewhere in the future. It is here in this very moment, waiting for you to claim it. Every day is a fresh opportunity to choose joy, to be grateful, to serve, and to live with contentment. Push yourself toward happiness daily, and soon it will no longer feel like a struggle, but like a natural state of being. And when you cultivate that inner light, it will shine not only on your own life, but on everyone around you, spreading hope, peace, and inspiration. Thank you for giving me your time and attention. May these words remind you of the power you already hold to live with joy. Push yourself to be happy every day, and you will find that happiness is not a passing moment. It is a way of life. Thank you, and may peace and happiness fill your heart always.